Right now at 9, we're heading to Landreth Park in Joplin for Community Fest. Plus, we'll tell you about a police department in Missouri launching some new electric tech. Also, Ukraine's president calls the acts against his nation genocide. And the latest on the refugee crisis in Europe from the war in Ukraine. You're watching the KOAM News at 9, and it starts right now. And thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Warner. Today at Landreth Park, there was the Community Fest hosted by council candidate John Thomas Buck. This event allowed people from the community to come out and enjoy face painting, food trucks, games, and live music. First 100 people to show were awarded a voucher to get a free food item at one of those trucks. And the festival also featured 6 different musical guests.
Yeah, I don't think events like this can be understated. I think this is a fantastic thing to be doing for the community, getting everybody out together at a space where you don't even have to spend any money if you don't want to. So I think it's awesome.
More than 100 people came out for the event. A small town in Missouri is believed to be the first in the state to have an all-electric police car. As its new squad car, the Lynn Creek Police Department is test driving a Tesla Model 3. Marina Silva has the story.
The Lynn Creek Police Department has a new tool when it comes to fighting crime, thanks to the approval of the City Council. The department purchased a Tesla Model 3 patrol vehicle. It went into service on Monday.
I sat and researched the new Ford Explorer, Interceptors, the Dodge Chargers. Went to the mayor, had some discussions about that. Even looked at purchasing a used car, fixing up what we had, that cost analysis.
Then came the idea of the Tesla.
So it's got an 8-year, 120,000-mile warranty on the battery alone. And I just figured, we're putting on 70 miles a day, under 12,000 miles a year. This car would last us, a good amount of time. And being a pilot program, we just figured we'll see what happens with it.
Chief Christensen calls it a good investment, paid for by taxpayers. The mayor of Lynn Creek agrees.
It's a great investment for our town. The cost savings as far as the regular maintenance, the upkeep, the fuel savings, it's approximately about $3,000 more than what an Explorer would be. And we'll probably make that up with current gas prices. We could easily make that up within a year.
Lynn Creek is a smaller community with a population of less than 300 people, so running out of power isn't really a concern.
A regular car can run out of gas, an electric car can run out of charge, but it's all up to the officer to make sure that the car is gassed or charged at the beginning of this shift. So, we're not going to run out of charge. We're going to have priority charging.
The chief says he thinks Lynn Creek is the first department in the state of Missouri to have a Tesla as the patrol vehicle.
The Tesla comes with everything a regular squad car would have, including, of course, the lights, a laptop, and even a printer. Well, it was a pretty nice day to get outdoors, but there's rain on the way. Nick Kelly joining us.
Even though it looked like there was rain on the radar earlier, Chris, it was fighting a lot of dry air near the surface. So fortunately, we kept dry during the day, and that allowed temperatures to warm up quite a bit. After a cool start at 41, we went above the normal high of 66 for this time of the year and topped out around 74 this afternoon. This is the better rain and storms that I've been tracking ever since they really got going over the past hour to hour and a half. Mainly on the Kansas side right now, but it's light to mainly moderate rainfall. Not really seeing much in the way of lightning, so we're okay on that front for now. But we're seeing these rain chances ramp up as advertised. Our cold front continues to knock on the door and plow on through from the northwest. That's going to keep rain chances in the forecast for tonight. Maybe some thunderstorms, but nothing too strong, nothing severe. But it is going to have an impact on temperatures compared to the day. We'll drop to about 52 for most spots to start your Monday morning out. And mainly cloudy skies during the day and only warming up to 62. So a bit cooler for tomorrow, Chris, and we'll see how long the rain chances like this will stick around for the week ahead here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. As European countries roll out the welcome mat for Ukrainians who've been able to leave their homeland, many civilians remain trapped in Mariupol. And Ukraine's president renews his plea for powerful weapons as his country battles with Russia. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has the latest from Lviv.
Ukrainians continue to escape the non-stop shelling in their country this weekend. Some progress has been made to get these refugees from Mariupol to safer cities, but Ukrainian officials say more than 100,000 remain trapped, cut off from the world. They claim Russian forces aren't allowing people to get out or letting any possible aid get into the city due to constant bombings.
I have only one question. Why? We only lived as normal people, and our normal life was destroyed, and we lost everything. I don't have any job. I can't find my son.
President Zelensky tells Fox News the only outcome his country will accept in its war with Russia is victory. Talks to reach a ceasefire continue as an attempt to rescue civilians from the surrounded city of Mariupol failed.
Powerful weapons are needed to Ukrainians. Heavy weapons will give us an opportunity to talk with them at the negotiation table.
Meanwhile, a series of explosions tore through the city of Odessa on Sunday. Missiles hit an oil processing plant and fuel depot in the area, causing a massive fire to break out, sending billowing clouds of smoke into the sky. While intense fighting continues in parts of Ukraine, officials say there is strong proof that Russian forces are now pulling out from in and around the capital city of Kyiv. Despite the withdrawals, President Volodymyr Zelensky warned civilians who are attempting to return home to stay away and stay safe. Ukrainian officials say troops are finding brutalized bodies on roads all over the outskirts of the city. It's sparking new calls for a war crimes investigation against Russia. In Lviv, Ukraine, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
As we mentioned, it's 5 weeks into the war. More European governments opening their door to the stream of refugees. Now, more than 4 million Ukrainians have fled their home, and more than half of those, are in Poland. Alexis McAdams is in Rzeszów, Poland.
More than 2 million Ukrainian refugees are here in Poland, and thousands come in by the day as they see those horrific images from Bucha and Mariupol. This comes as people here in Poland are opening their hearts and opening their homes to Ukrainian refugees. Take a look here. You can see this is in Rzeszów, Poland. This family of 6 from Ukraine staying with a local family in southeastern Poland. That homeowner, a Polish business owner, tells us he gave that family a place to live, food and clothing, all for free. The Ukrainian refugees tell us they traveled with just a few bags, not sure where they would even stay, grateful for the support of the Polish people who've stepped up in a time of crisis.
We were very much afraid for our lives. First of all, for lives of our kids. When we were in our summer house, also we heard shelling and missiles. None of us slept this night. Trip was horrible. We were all the time afraid when there were missiles while we were standing in line.
Border crossings are still very busy, as you can see. Volunteers preparing for new waves of refugees who have finally been able to make their way out of those war zones. The EU granted Ukrainians who flee the war the right to stay and work throughout its 27 member nations for up to 3 years. They can also receive social welfare and access to housing, medical treatment, and schools. But how many more refugees can Poland take?
Well, not too many, I think, because we've already received around 2 million. And we, as the city and the region, we are just the reception point. So generally, we are not the place where they will stay permanently.
Officials here in Poland say they cannot take many more refugees because even the largest cities like Warsaw have hit their capacity. In Rzeszów, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
We take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Sergeant Larry Beasley served in the Army during World War II. His hometown, Liberal, Missouri. We're proud to recognize Sergeant Larry Beasley, tonight's four-state hero. After the forecast, the director of the Russian Space Agency says he's planning to end Russian cooperation with the International Space Station if the West doesn't lift economic sanctions.
Enjoy the...
Nick, thank you. Still to come, prices at the pump are continuing, believe it or not, to trend lower. The director of the Russian Space Agency says he's planning to end Russian cooperation with the International Space Station if the West doesn't lift economic sanctions. Critics say that would effectively dissolve the ISS program. Molly Line has the latest from Boston.
Russia's space director is vowing to end cooperation with the West and NASA on the International Space Station unless all sanctions against Moscow are lifted. The head of Roscosmos, Dmitry Rogozin, argued this weekend that Russia's role is vital, that only their Soyuz spacecraft can transport American, Canadian, European, and other astronauts, noting America has no such craft. He also noted Russia's role in delivering fuel, avoiding space trash, and maintaining orbit, declaring this.
So working without Russia is impossible, just like working without America. If they pull us out of this, the ISS wouldn't exist anymore.
In a social media tear on Twitter, Rogozin claimed the aim of the sanctions put in place by a collective of nations against Russia's invasion of Ukraine is to kill the Russian economy and to put Russia on its knees. Here is part of the translation. I believe that the restoration of normal relations between partners in the International Space Station and other joint projects is possible only with the complete and unconditional lifting of illegal sanctions. The recent tensions raised fears that American astronaut Mark Vande Hei may be left behind on the space station, but he and 2 cosmonauts landed safely last week in Kazakhstan. Russia may now seek to strengthen its alliance with China on all things space, but former International Space Station commander Terry Virts says this.
But that partnership is going to be very different than it was with America. We treated them as equal partners with respect. We provided them with a lot of money over the last several decades. And their relationship with China, I think, is going to be much more, master and servant kind of relationship.
NASA is aware of the recent comments made by Rogozin. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson has responded in a statement, noting sanctions continue to allow the U.S.-Russian cooperation on the space station, that the professional relationship between cosmonauts and astronauts, quote, continues for the safety and mission of all on board the ISS. In Boston, Molly Line, Fox News.
Coming up, 2 energy coalitions go after the Biden administration. Prices at the pump continue trending lower after President Biden on Friday ordered the release of 1 million barrels of oil every day for 6 months from the nation's Strategic Petroleum Reserve. According to the latest data from AAA, the average price for a gallon dropped to $4.19 on Sunday, a decline from Saturday's average of $4.20, and way down from the high price hit on March 11th of $4.33. 2 energy coalitions go after the Biden administration, one with words in ads and one with words on the Hill. The American Energy Alliance and the Western Energy Alliance are hitting back at the Biden administration for refusing to push further domestic oil and gas production. The American Energy Alliance ad campaign features apparent contradictory words by Biden officials on energy. It's going to run in Washington, D.C. and 12 states. And Western Energy Alliance President Kathleen Sagama will testify in a commerce hearing Tuesday. Sagama says the administration is blame-shifting on prices and suppressing energy production. Ford recalls thousands of its trucks over potential braking issues. The company says it's recalling about 400,000 of its trucks for issues with the integrated trailer braking systems. The problem is due to a software issue causing the system not to apply a trailer's brakes. The callback affects 2021 and 2022 models, including Ford F-150, Super Duty models, Expedition, Lincoln Navigator, and Ford Maverick. Software fix can be done by local dealers. The automaker will notify owners of affected models by mail. House of Representatives has okayed a bill to decriminalize marijuana at the federal level. Congressional correspondent Chad Bergram reports.
Well, it wasn't a joint session of Congress, but on a 220 to 204 roll call vote, the House removed marijuana from the government's list of controlled substances.
I was a supporter of the war on drugs. It's not a gateway drug.
Republicans believe Democrats are wasting their time on legislation like this as inflation and gas prices surge.
What are Democrats doing today? Legalizing drugs. Legalizing drugs and using American tax dollars to kickstart and prop up the marijuana industry.
But Democrats said it was high time the government catch up with states which have legalized marijuana, including for medical purposes.
What a massive outbreak of common sense in America against the GOP's failed authoritarian war on marijuana that depends on paranoid tropes from the 1970s. It's like they saw reefer madness in middle school and never got over it.
There was talk in support from Republicans for the bill, 3 GOP yeas, 2 Democratic noes. GOP Kentucky Representative Thomas Massey wants to legalize marijuana, but says this legislation isn't how to do it.
This bill creates new federal crimes, 5 years and $10,000 for even just possessing marijuana that hasn't been taxed if you have an intent to resell it.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Congress ignored marijuana for too long.
The fact is, it exists it's being used. We've got to address how it is treated legally and not in a way that mistreats people on the lower income scale.
Liberals say decriminalization is necessary because the justice system is unfair when dealing with marijuana compared to cocaine.
The war on drugs disproportionately impacted Black, Latino, and minority communities, and they tore them apart with a very targeted incarceration strategy that was discriminatory geographically, racially.
The Senate must hash out the bill next, but without getting into the parliamentary weeds, the bill has to first overcome a filibuster. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
We're wrapping up this half hour of the news at 9 with a new flavor of whiskey that's different. Well, they're flavoring booze with all sorts of wacky things these days, but this one might be a home run. You want a little baseball bat in your whiskey? Hey, we're not kidding. Whistle Pig Whiskey, launching a new limited edition spirit finished in barrels containing toasted baseball bats. And here's why. It's to celebrate former MLB star David Ortiz's induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So, they're putting Ortiz's signature Maplewood baseball bats into the finishing barrels. It'll only cost you $50 to see for yourself if this idea knocks it out of the park or is a foul ball. Either way, some of that money will go to Ortiz's charity that raises money for kids who need heart surgery. You can try it for yourself by ordering on Whistle Pig's website. If you miss out, 2 more collaborations are already planned. We've got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Up first, police in Sacramento, California say 6 people are dead and at least 10 others have been injured in a mass shooting in the city's downtown area. And a record number of anti-transgender bills have been introduced in state legislatures. Welcome back. Police in Sacramento say 6 people are dead and at least 10 others have been injured in a mass shooting in the city's downtown area, not far from the state capitol building. Authorities are looking for multiple suspects. Fox News correspondent Claudia Cowan has more.
This hospitality corridor in downtown Sacramento remains a large and active crime scene as police try to identify suspects and piece together what led up to the tragic shooting at around 2 a.m. Sunday morning, just as all the bars and restaurants were letting out for the night. 8 square blocks are still cordoned off with crime tape, and yellow markers show where some victims were hit after enjoying a night on the town. Police say multiple people opened fire, killing 3 men and 3 women and injuring 12 others. The city's police chief says detectives have recovered a stolen handgun and that the shooting followed some kind of altercation.
We know that a large fight took place just prior to the shootings, and we have confirmed that there are multiple shooters. Investigators are currently interviewing numerous witnesses. We have located hundreds of pieces of evidence at the scene.
Still isn't known how many shooters were involved or if anyone was specifically targeted. None of the victims have been identified by police, but worried family members have been coming here for any information about their loved ones and to identify the victims whose bodies are still here.
I just want to know something, that's all. I just want them to just tell me something, tell our family something so we can do what we have to do to try to move on a little bit.
Among those who haven't answered their phone today, Sergio Harris, 38 years old and a father of 3. His family says he was here Saturday night and they fear the worst. There was a heavy police presence here at the time, an officer almost on every corner, but that didn't matter. Sacramento's mayor says there's nothing a city can do to prevent all random violence, but he says more needs to be done to get guns off the streets. Investigators are appealing to the public for help to provide any cell phone video they may have or any information so they can make arrests and solve this latest mass shooting that has shaken California's capital city to its core. In Sacramento, California, Claudia Cowan, Fox News.
A record number of anti-transgender bills have been introduced in state legislatures already this year. 3 months into the new year, and 130 bills have been proposed this year in more than that in 32 years, according to the LGBTQ advocacy group, the Human Rights Campaign. One of the most talked about became a law in Florida on Monday after Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill banning any discussion in primary schools about gender identity or sexual orientation. On Wednesday, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt also signed the Save Women's Sports Act, which bans trans girls from participating in high school or college female sports teams. Actress Estelle Harris, known for her role as George Costanza's mother on the sitcom Seinfeld, has passed away just weeks before her 94th birthday. She died Saturday evening of natural causes in Palm Desert, California. Harris also voiced Mrs. Potato Head in the Toy Story franchise and played Muriel on Disney Channel's The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She was 93. Researching COVID cases in Great Britain bring a new record infection level. Nearly 5 million people in the country are infected with the coronavirus for the week ending March 26th, according to British data, with 1 in 13 people as infected, which is a new weekly record. Hospitalizations and death rates are rising again, but COVID-19 deaths are relatively low. England is now under a living with COVID plan and with no more free rapid COVID-19 testing. More than 2/3 of people 12 and older have been vaccinated and have a booster or third vaccine dose. We may soon have a new judge appointed to the nation's highest court. If chosen, President Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, will make history by being the first black woman on the court. Senior national correspondent Rich Edson has the latest.
The Senate Judiciary Committee appears on track tomorrow to advance Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's nomination for the Supreme Court. If so, the full Senate could vote to confirm her later this week. Democrats control the Senate and seem to have enough votes to elevate Judge Jackson as the first black woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, though she faces significant Republican opposition.
She's certainly qualified. I think she's got a great personality. I think will be a good colleague on the court. But the judicial philosophy seems to be not the philosophy of looking at what the law says and the Constitution says.
Republicans claim Jackson has a record of judicial activism for liberal causes. They've attacked her over what they say is her flawed methodology in sentencing in child pornography cases. Jackson's defenders say her sentencing record is well within the mainstream.
The truth is that every single one of the specific senators who joined in these bad faith attacks on her sentencing record with respect to child pornography has voted for numerous Trump-nominated judges who sentenced defendants for the same crimes in the same fashion.
At least one Republican, Senator Susan Collins, has promised to vote for Jackson. Collins says Jackson has the experience, qualifications, and integrity to serve on the Supreme Court. She says the Constitution asks senators to consider those factors, not whether the nominee reflects the ideology of an individual senator. It's unclear if other Republicans will vote with Collins.
Do you think there will be any other Republicans who join her?
I don't know for sure.
The White House is pushing other Republicans to vote for Jackson, with Utah Senator Mitt Romney and Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski the likeliest to support her.
We're back right after this.
Much of our Sunday stayed on the quiet side with lows in the 40s this morning and bouncing back into the lower to middle 70s. That's despite quite a bit of cloud cover on the increase throughout the course of the day and what looked like light rain during the afternoon. But even though the radar was picking up light rain echoes, there was quite a bit of dry air near the surface still. So the vast majority of this stuff was just getting gobbled up by that dry air. But what's been developing over the past few hours, though, this has certainly had a better chance of reaching the ground as our cold front knocking on the door continues to pull in more moisture from the south. So we are definitely seeing rain coming on down, especially in our northern counties. With a quick tour of the radar network, pretty much a good portion of Vernon County seeing light to moderate rain around Fort Scott, east of Uniontown. We've got rain picking back up around Iola and Humboldt, and then sliding down to the south, a little rain around McCune, Pittsburgh, picking back up once we go around Bartlesville and northern parts of Nowata County. These are rain chances that will continue to pick up throughout the course of the night. Nothing too crazy though, but we've got other rain chances on the way to deal with as well. 67 in Joplin, mostly cloudy up top. Joplin's dry for the time being with that southeast wind ahead of our approaching cold front at 10 miles per hour. Anybody else ahead of the front, you are well into the mid-60s at the very least. And we're starting to see more 50s popping up behind the cold front as that north breeze kicks in. And you can clearly see that as we look back at winds over the past 6 hours. That northerly breeze kicking in, even though it's light, that is going to cool us down some compared to where we topped out at today. Looking at the bigger picture though, here's your cold front pushing on through rather. Then we got to deal with this upper level wave that will continue to push the front through tonight. Then this upper level wave coming out of the Gulf of Alaska, that's going to push another front our way by the middle of the week. And this will just continue to toy us with rain chances off and on for the next 3 or 4 days, including tonight. The radar may not look exactly like the future track is projecting here, but it's got the right idea in general. Periods of showers, a couple of thunderstorms, some moderate pockets of rain certainly possible, nothing severe though. We'll move the rain to our southern counties during the morning hours. I think we're dry to start the afternoon before additional rain starts to sneak back in from the south late in the day. Let's go 52 in the morning, 57 by noon. That northeast breeze, even though it's light, will cool us down back to 62 tomorrow during the afternoon. Then by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, additional rain chances, let's say south and east of Pittsburgh, Nevada, and Parsons. Then I think for a good portion of Tuesday, we're looking dry with highs back near 70 before the next system comes our way. But with this first wave of rain alone, anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to almost an inch of rain, then I think the rain chances Tuesday night and Wednesday could push most of us close to an inch of rain. Then this slow moving low might give us a stray shower on Thursday, but the big story with that slow moving upper level wave, a chilly end of the week ahead of us. 62 tomorrow, 70 Tuesday, 62 on Wednesday. We've got lower 50s for Thursday and Friday. And let's keep an eye on Friday and Saturday morning, Chris, with lows back in the 30s.
Nick, thank you. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern aims for their 4th straight win. Plus, Pitt State has a chance to take the series from Central Oklahoma. Danny Terzer has got those highlights next.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. The Missouri Southern Lions have won their last 5 of 6 games. That includes the first 2 of a series against Fort Hays State. The Lions haven't given up a single run to the Tigers through 2 games. In the series finale, fast start, Southern's first 3 batters load the bases. Then Tommy Stevenson sends it through the gap. That brings in 2 runs. A few batters later, Tragan Parker hits a bomb to right. 3-run home run. Lions up 5-0 in the first. Next inning, 2 outs, Henry Kuziak. Solo home run, number 7 on the season for Kuziak and his 3rd this series. Later, here's a chance for the Tigers, 1 out, bases loaded, but the Lions turn the double play to end the frame. Southern adds 1 more in the 7th. Cole Robinson flies out to center. Kuziak will score. Southern shuts out Fort Hays for the 3rd straight game, this one 7-0. Pitt State hosts Central Oklahoma today. The series is currently split. In Game 3, Cade Clemens gives the Gorillas their first lead with a hit out to left. Garrett McGowan scores, and right behind him, Jordan Maxson slides across home, 3-1 Pitt. Later, tied at 4, Cruz Aranda belts a solo shot to left. 4th inning, Aranda's back up with the bases loaded. And this is a grand slam. Aranda goes 3 for 4 today with 5 RBI. Pitt jumps out to a big lead now, 9-4. Broncos, though, slowly chip away. 1-run game in the 8th. Clayton Peterson gives it right back. Broncos grand slam. Central Oklahoma scores 8 runs in the inning to come back and take the lead. Pitt State can't answer, falling 14-11. Still ahead, Sports Director Jacob Leonard sits down in the studio with Pitt State safety Brandon Malikas. We'll have that next.
All right, welcome back to the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. We're sitting down now. One of my favorite guys ever that we've covered, Brandon Malikas, former Frontenac Raider, current Pittsburgh State safety. They're in the middle of spring ball now. Thanks for being here, man. First off, you guys are in the middle of spring. Just give us an update. How's it going right now? What stood out to you, and how good does it feel to be back out there?
It definitely feels good to be back out there for the spring. Seeing all the guys again, and honestly just getting to play football. We've been working out since January, and it feels good to do something other than lift weights and run sprints. So yeah.
One of my favorite parts about covering the team is the amount of local guys. I know we've had this conversation before. You know, you, Elijah, Bryce, Alex, PJ. There's so many local guys that aren't just there, but they're good football players. I've talked to some of them in the past, and they say there's like an extra pride of being a local guy and playing for Pittsburgh State and kind of representing the four-state community. We talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It does mean a little bit more when you have people that know you and that have supported you through not only your college days, but like your high school and even before that family, friends or whatever that love the Gorillas. They've always loved the Gorillas, and now it even means more for them having someone that they know and that they care about watching on the field. So.
The reason I want to have you out here, I just think about your football journey, and when I started this job it was when you were in high school, and so I've got to see you play in high school, and I've got to see you play in college, and your football journey is really unique. You're recruited to play on defense. You played defense. You play special teams early on, and then you played quarterback for a year, and now you're back on the defensive side. Will you kind of talk about what the journey's been like for you to kind of see both sides of the game in college?
Yeah, I definitely could have never expected it or planned for it to happen, but I'm grateful that it did. It opened up a lot of new experiences for me. It allowed me to meet. You're close as a team, but you get that other side of the whole thing. You get to meet another 50 guys on offense that you don't necessarily spend every day at practice with, and that was a crucial thing, and I feel like I'm a lot closer with those guys too now. And just from a mental aspect of the game, you kind of have a better understanding of what the offense is going to do on a specific third down or what they're trying to accomplish throughout a game, just because you have that mentality a little bit in the back of your head.
Will you take me back to that conversation, before the season when, maybe it was Coach Beck or maybe it was an assistant where they brought up the idea or, told you that, that you're going to be switching sides of the ball and you're going to be playing quarterback?
Yeah, that actually happened right in the off season, right after, I think it was 2018 season or something, but they just brought me into the office and they were like, would this be something that would interest you? And I said I'd do anything that would help us. Like if they felt like I could give us a better shot, then I was going to do it. So. That was just kind of one talk, and then spring ball kind of rolled around, and I was on the depth chart at quarterback, and Weimer's was my new coach.
What was it like to, how long did it take you, or did it take you any time at all to kind of get back into that quarterback mindset?
Definitely. It definitely did. Plus, with being in college, it was just a whole new game, and the veer, and never having ran an offense like that, it was definitely a struggle for a good while.
Do you have a favorite? Is defense what you feel more comfortable playing? Do you like that better?
Definitely now, yeah. Now that I've actually gotten to get in a good rhythm on defense, I feel like I like that a lot more.
So you're back on defense now, but I actually got to see you slinging around the other day because Pitt State had their pro day, and I guess the scouts showed up and said, "Who's throwing to our wideouts and our defensive backs?" And you stepped in and threw. What was that like to kind of show up to support you guys, but end up throwing and working?
That was kind of an odd one. It was pretty funny. I walked in and our corners coach came up to me, and the first thing he said was like, "You good to throw today?" And I was like, "I'm not sure. Like, are you sure? Like, you want me?" And then I kind of thought they were joking. And next person came up and asked me, and they're like, "Do you want to throw?" And I was like, "Are you guys being serious? Like, I will do it." And then finally, another 20 minutes later, someone came up to me like, "You better start getting warmed up. We're gonna throw to these guys." And I was like, "Guys, you really sure? Like last time I'm asking." But no, it was good. I'm happy to do it, just to help those guys out, just let them show off their talents.
All right, man. That is Brandon Malikas, Pittsburgh State safety. You can check him. You can check the Gorillas out. Their annual spring game. It's on a Friday this year, April 19th. Yeah. I love that because I can actually be there. Brandon, I appreciate you coming out here.
Sir.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Well, that is our time for now. As we leave you, we're going to show you some video of this baby porcupine from the Chicago Zoological Society. Don't forget, got the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 starts at 7 a.m. and we'll see you again at 9. And thank you so much for making us part of your night.